Hey guys, today I want to talk about change. When I was growing up, I used to watch this guy. His name was Alistair Cook. He wrote a book called America. He also did a documentary series about it on NPR. And I watched that because my father had me sitting down watching it with him one time, and it was a really interesting show. And I liked it so much. I enjoyed it so much because of the fact I was fascinated with the changes that our fathers and grandfathers had gone through. It was actually kind of fascinating to watch some of the stuff that they had gone through between World War I, World War II, but this covered all the way back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, things like that. And it was a fascinating take on America. And Alistair Cook just portrayed the history in such a way. It was brilliant the way he did it. And the sad part about Alistair Cook, after he died, I heard they dug up his body and they stole his bones and his skin and stuff like that. And I guess it had something to do with his funeral home too that buried him or whatever. It was kind of like a sad and tragic ending to his story. But the guy was a fascinating man, and he the way he told about the historical changes in the U.S. And he told these little ditties and these little stories, side stories and side notes and stuff like that made it kind of fascinating, just like the history of after he died, what happened with his body. He would tell these fascinating little stories sometimes when he was talking on some of these talk shows, or whether he was talking on his own show there, America. And then he also wrote the book America, which, like I said, is really, really good. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about the changes that we're going through here in the Philippines, because we're going through some drastic changes, not just here in the Philippines, but back home in the U.S. and the world, with Taiwan, China. Everybody's worried about the collapse of the American dollar, and are we going to go to some digital currency and all this stuff. We're definitely going through some really rocky and big changes here in the world today, and it's almost scary, and everybody's afraid to put their money in a bank because the bank might collapse, and then you got to deal with the FDIC or what have you. And these things are happening, and some people are talking about some of these bigger banks such as Schwab and Ameritrade possibly, and Ameritrade's owned by Schwab now, but some of these other bigger banks out there, and there's YouTubers out there talking about Schwab possibly going under, and there's also some of the mainline news picking up stories on that too, and talking about Schwab and a few other banks that are kind of distressed. They're in financial distress, and that makes it scary for people to keep money in these banks, and all of a sudden bank runs happen. Even some of my family members are distressed about the banks back home because a couple people in my family have mentioned they're thinking about taking all their money out and keep it in cash. And a lot of people are talking about investing more in gold and silver. And it might be a time to invest in gold and silver, actually, because I can see some tough times coming ahead. These rumors of war and stuff like that. And I wanted to make a comment on that I've read a lot of these people that comment on whether we'll go to war, will we go to war, will we go to war with China, will China go to war with us. One guy says 2049, maybe yes, because it'll take that long for them to build up to the point where they feel comfortable to try to go to war with the U.S. or whatever. And what kind of war will it be? Will it be a world war where they're trying to take over the world and they're taking over island by island like the Japanese did or whatever, or like the Germans were trying to do? All that stuff that was going on, back in World War I and World War II. What will it be like that? I'm not so sure. I was thinking about this the other day, and I mulled this over for like weeks, this video, because I want to talk about this, about the changes and stuff like that, because there's so many changes going on. But this is one of the big ones I want to talk about, is that I don't think it's going to be a war where the United States lobs off a whole bunch of warheads in China, and China lobs off warheads in the U.S. I've thought about this for a while, and a lot of other people said the same thing. As I was reading through these things, it kind of made more sense. If the war is going to take place, it's going to take place in the South China Sea. It's going to take place up near Taiwan. It's going to take place down here near the Philippines probably. And it's probably going to be a sea war for the most part, firing at each other, firing at aircraft carriers, submarines, ships, things like that, going back and forth. I don't think that China wants to go into Taiwan and try to just go take it over like that, because they know that if they go to take it over, all the stuff that they want and need there is all going to be bombed out. You know, the United States or Taiwan itself might destroy the silicon wafer factories just to make sure that China doesn't get them. They don't want them to get that. You know, and they don't want to be under China rule or anything like that, I don't think. You know, and the other thing is that the United States does not want to have a huge war and bring it into our realm. China doesn't want to bring it into their realm. They want to fight the war like a proxy war someplace else, you know, and fight. But right now there is no real proxy war going on between China and the U.S. The war is a different kind of war. It's kind of like a Cold War, you know. But with Russia right now, it's a proxy war with the Ukraine and all that stuff going on over there. It's kind of a funky little thing going on over in the Ukraine. I'm not sure, you know, what's going to happen with that. It's back and forth, you know. A lot of stuff we don't hear in the news. A lot of stuff is I think propaganda on both sides. But I think the Ukraine is fighting pretty good. We just sent them a whole bunch of stuff. But the Russians are going in there and they're fighting pretty hard and strong again in some sections. But then all of a sudden the Ukrainians start going in there with all their new weapons, and then they fight back, and then Russia comes back. Russia does not want to pull out of there. But the fact is that, you know, Putin has been, you know, they have an arrest thing out for him, you know, right now. And, you know, and then we got this thing going on also with Trump, you know, it's almost like they're trying to get you to look at something else. Hey, look at this here while we do this here change. And you know, it's always smoke and mirrors in the world with the news and stuff. The media is basically run now by all these different countries. The media is junk. You know, anything you watch in the media now is pretty much spoon-fed to you what they want you to see and what they want you to know. The fact is that you know, you're not getting the truth all the time. They got a faucet going on, and I'm like, what's that in my ear? But anyway, you know, like you kind of you see what they want you to see, you know, and changes are coming. I think we're heading towards some sort of digital currency. Does that mean we're going to wipe out paper currency? I don't think it's going to be totally digital currency. I think there's going to be some sort of function for paper money out there, because we do need some sort of paper money for on the streets when you buy a paper, or you go buy a stand or a hot dog stand or something like that. And the United States knows that. I think people are kind of like making it like bigger than what it is. Is digital currency good? I think it's bad because it kind of tracks us. I think what will happen is we will have a form of paper currency for small transactions. I think certain bills might disappear, or maybe we'll just stick with $20 bills, or, you know, something like that for doing transactions, maybe on the streets for street food or what have you. I'm not sure how that would work, or maybe we'd be allowed so much money for that, which is still kind of controlling you to a certain point. I don't know how that would play out. And I'm just throwing things out there. You guys can throw out in the comments what you guys think about stuff like this too, because I think this is an interesting subject. Because I was sitting here the other day and I was watching all the changes that are going on around me. Here in the Philippines, man, changes are quick. You know, because 5 years ago when I came here, and now when you go up to Manila, man, things are changing. There's condos, there's buildings going up all over the place. Chinese are leaving in droves, and so a lot of them are moving over to the Philippines, and it's becoming kind of like a Taiwan over here. When you go up to Manila, you see a lot of Chinese families walking through, and you see a lot of people, you know, that are walking through the malls and stuff like that, and they're living their lives. They're coming over here to seek happiness because they're tired of the communism that's going on over there. But I think you will see drastic changes throughout the world, and really nobody knows what's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to play out. We don't know how it's going to go on. We don't know how it's going to move or anything like that. It's kind of like a three-dimensional chess game going on constantly here in the Philippines, and China knows what they're doing. I mean, we've had some problems with China actually over here, and I'm not sure if we're still going to have problems with China over here. China's very slick in the way they play games, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, with what's going on with the United States, us putting troops here, us having more presence here and everything, that'll slow down some of the things that are going on here. And this is going to be like my part one of this series on change. I think we can do a lot more on this, and I think we can probably go maybe as far as 3 or 4 in this series. So I'm going to do some more on this. We'll see how it goes. If you guys watch it and you guys like it, you know, give me a thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments, because if you guys throw me out some other ideas on what you'd like me to talk about, I'll talk about it more also. But I think this will be the beginning part of this. We're going to delve into this a little bit more and see where we can go with it. God bless, guys. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And be sure to leave comments in the comments what you would like to be covered in this series, because I'll cover it. I'll talk about it. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.